Welcome you all for the session on foreign trade. So in this session I am going to explain about the meaning of foreign trade and how the foreign trade helping for the growth of Indian economy. So basically the foreign trade is exchanging of goods and services from one country to another country. So when we are going for exporting, when we are going for importing of goods and services, whenever there is a huge amount of products or the services are surplusly available in the home country, we are going for exporting of those products and services to the other country where it is deficiently available. To meet out those demand in the foreign country, we are going to selling the product or we are going to exporting of goods and services. And when there is a kind of demand in the local market, we don't have proper manufacturer for manufacturing the goods. The technology is not available for manufacturing of that good. Hence, we are importing the product from the other countries. So there are the export and import activities. Export and import of goods, export and import of services will be the determinant factor of economy, which will be the important thing in the foreign trade. It is exchanging of goods and services happens domestically. It is normally we can take it as a domestic trade, but if it is happen between the countries, it's a foreign trade. So in this, there are a number of benefits are going to be realized by the country if they are involving the process of exporting of goods and services to the other country. It's like there are a more number of employment opportunity have been generated by the home country, as well as the kind of income received. There should be a export. The country has received a income. The inflow of currency, inflow of foreign currency will happen to the domestic country or the home country. So which will boost the growth of economy in different aspects. So normally the foreign trade is encouraged by the Indian government after giving the importance which was given after the 1991 new economic policy. There are a number of regulations or deregulated for the growth and betterment of foreign trade. So the introduction to foreign trade. The foreign trade refers to the exchange of goods and services between two or more countries. A foreign trade is an indispensable means of sustaining the economic growth and development of a nation. So based on this definition itself, you will be able to understand the meaning of foreign trade. The foreign trade normally happens between the countries for exchanging of goods and services. So if the goods or the services in the domestic country which are surplusly available, it means after meeting out the needs of the domestic or after meeting out the needs of the people in the domestic country, if the goods and services are excessively available or surplusly available, so those products or the services are going to be exported where the country in which the same goods or the services which are not available or which are deficiently available, scarcely available in the particular country where we are going to selling or where we are going to exporting of these goods and services. And when the import may happen to the country, the import happens to the country when there is a deficiency of the product or manufacturing of the product in the domestic country or the services in the domestic country, we will be getting the product or the services from other nations where the products or the services are surplusly available. We can buy it at relatively lower price if it is surplusly available in the other countries. So in this particular purpose, the foreign trade is encouraged by the government. Government is encouraging the foreign trade. There are a number of benefits are going to be realized by the government. First, it is related to the generation of employment opportunity to the people. It provides the employment opportunity. There are the exporting and importing of goods and services. There are a manpower are required for this particular process will be used in the domestic country. So generation of more employment opportunity in the domestic country will increase the income of the employees. If increased the income will increase the purchasing power of employees. The consumption pattern will increase in the country. It will leads to increase the more manufacturing of goods in the domestic market. So the total productivity of the country will increase if the country is involving with the foreign trade. With that, what would be the benefit to the government? The government is also receiving income out of this. The tax will be collected from the firms who are operating or exporting of goods. Also, the benefit to the government will receive the foreign currency inflow in the country. It is more currency inflow in the particular country will strengthen the currency value in the international market. It will be the benefit out of this. And the foreign trade is an indispensable means of sustaining the economic growth and development. It is not for one particular time that the economy is going to be developed in the country. It is sustainable manner. Consistently the economy is going to be developed in the particular country. It is understanding the needs of the people. Based on the understanding they are manufacturing the goods, their productivity will increase. They will be exporting the goods to other country, generating more revenue, will increase the more employment opportunity, factor income will increase, we will get the foreign inflow of currency, it will strengthen the home country currency in the international market. The value will be strengthened. And the contribution of foreign trade towards the economic growth. It enables the import of capital goods and intermediate goods that involves the advanced technology which accelerate the development process, the flow of advanced technology which improves the factor productivity. So in that imports of capital goods and intermediate goods that involves the advanced technology which accelerate the development process. Instead of we are going to importing the goods from the foreign country, it will be like a one-time process. It is a recurring process. Normally it was what we consider as a recurring process. It will not giving any value addition which is not relevant to the growth of economy, which is actually may happen the outflow of currency. The outflow of currency will depreciating the money value in the international market. So when it is planned to import the capital goods and intermediate goods in the market, which will adopt the technology. We can learn the technology and use those machineries in the domestic market for manufacturing of the goods what we are going to imported in past history of the particular country. So which will be help, and the flow of advanced technology may improve in the factor productivity. So the money flow will happen in the particular country itself. It will not be away from the country. So the reserves and the currency value will remain constant and consistently improve in the global market. The import of capital goods involving advanced technology offers other advantages in terms of improvement in managerial talents, know-how, skill and entrepreneurship. So import of capital goods is very essential. The government is also encouraging the people, encouraging the enterprise to import of capital goods, where the capital goods which is involved with a higher rate of technology or higher degree of technology, which is allowed to import. Even the government is also providing subsidy for importing those kind of technical oriented capital goods, where this kind of technical oriented capital goods are relatively helpful for the domestic manufacturer to manufacture the goods domestically, and increase in production that the product may relatively cheaper it is available in the local market will reduce the overall inflation in the country. It is in further helps the economy to grow. It is in further reducing the deficit balance of payment. So it is helpful in this particular aspect. Also, it will increase the managerial talents among the people, among the employees, because the people may aware how to use that particular technology, how to manufacture the goods by using the technology or rendering the service by using the technology, may be available or known by the people. So it will be helpful for this particular aspect, and it also generating the more employment opportunities, as well as the entrepreneurial activities are also being provided. So there are traditional firms, semi-automated firms are also induced to adopt the kind of technology or to import the capital goods from the foreign country, where instead of using the traditional manufacturing system can be replaced with the modern manufacturing system. It generates the pressure for dynamic changes, which happens through the competitive pressures from imports. It means the products are huge, wanted in the domestic market, where the manufacturers are not available for manufacturing of the product, or they don't have a capacity for manufacturing those goods. The kind of problems might happen which will increase the more import of goods from the foreign country. Then the second aspect, the pressure of competition for the export market, where the product, if we can be able to manufacture in the home country, which we can be able to export in the foreign market, where the goods are rarely available, where the goods are scarcely available in the foreign market, we can be able to export. So there is a reason for importing of goods, and the opportunity for exporting the goods in the foreign market will be the reason for buying of capital goods or importing of capital goods from the foreign country. And exports allows to increase in production and exploitation of economies of scale and increase familiarity with the absorption of new technologies. So the basic thing we are going for the exporting and importing activities related to the improve the production. So it is not going to sell or not going to export all the goods in the domestic market. We are going to exporting the goods which is surplusly available in the market. So if there is a huge amount of need or the huge demand for exporting of goods into the foreign country, hence the manufacturing organizations are planning to manufacture more amount of goods. They will not going to be a kind of the domestic products are to be exported, or the product which has been manufactured for the domestic needs are going to be exported. Not like that. It is that they are going to involving with the larger scale production if they are concentrating on the export of goods, and with the familiarity which is going to increase the profitability to the organization, as well as it is going to exploiting the economies of scale, reducing the overall cost which involving for manufacturing of goods, and which will also increasing the familiarity of using the new technology, which will improve, will be the source, will be the benefit to the organization. This is in turn help to increase the profitability to the domestic business without corresponding increase in the price. So normally if the manufacturer is going to get the profit out of the product, if they are fixing more price, more profitability happens to the manufacturer, but the manufacturer will get the more profit if they are going to exporting the goods into the foreign country. So which happens, and the foreign trade increases workers' welfare through the large export, which result in higher wages to the employees, and the cheaper import will be the better for consumption pattern. Consumption pattern will change if it is a cheaper goods or cheaper import, which enable for more consumption among the people. It enables the workers to become more productive with the use of better technology and other inputs, or to be used by the workers, consolidating this for manufacturing of goods and services. And for further increase in openness to trade has been strongly associated with the reduction of poverty in majority of the developing countries. So it is the need, we need to know about the trade has been strongly associated with the reduction of poverty, openness in trade. If there is no kind of trade restrictions prevailing in the particular country, is going to improve or strengthen the relationship between the countries, as well as strengthen the trade happens in the country. Also, it reduce or eradicate the level of poverty in the domestic market. So, increased openness to trade, it is increasing, it is more productivity may happen in the domestic market. It is open up to sell the product in the foreign country or exporting of product into the foreign country, which will in turn generate the employment opportunity, as well it is providing the revenue to the government. The government may use the revenue for further developing the economy. In that various programs, or through giving various incentives to the people, or through transfer payments, the kind of the poverty will be reduced in the country. It is the trade policy is a major aspect in this. We need to know the trade policy. We all know the foreign trade is the exchange of goods and services from the countries. One or more country which may happen is a foreign trade, whereas the trade policy is the agreement between the countries for exporting and importing of goods and services. They come up with the kind of standards, regulation, procedures for exporting and importing of goods and services, which we call it as trading policies. So the trade policy, which refers to the complete framework of laws, regulations, international agreements and negotiating stances adopted by a government to achieve the legally binding market access for domestic firms. The definition is given by the Walter Goode. So in this definition, we know that the trade policy has the rules, regulation, and it contains a kind of agreement. The standard terms and conditions should be followed while we are going to exporting or we are going to importing of goods and services. It is like whenever we are going to export or whenever we are going to import, there are products, there are services are classified in the law. If you take in India, there are the goods and services are classified. There are separate codes are given to those goods and services. Whenever we are going to exporting or importing, we need to state which type of product we are going to export or which type of product we are going to import. This particular code, we call it as harmonized standard code. In that code itself, there are sub-codes, sub-products are coming under the category. We can state which type of product we are exporting or importing. Why this particular harmonized standard code is needed? There are different names we can have that particular product in a different country. So there is a harmonized standard code which is acceptable in the worldwide for buying and selling of goods or exporting and importing of goods across the world. So these terms and conditions are mentioned in this, and there are a kind of international agreements. In the home country, there is a regulation is differ from the country in which we are going to export, or in the country in which we are going to importing the goods. So the country or they themselves come to an agreement. It is called it as trade policy. So it is having a kind of stances related to the negotiation. So what responsibility of exporter and the importer, and what are the essential things should be followed while exporting and importing of goods. All the things are negotiated in that the trading policy. Strategic options for trade policy. There are different options have been chosen by the nation for trading of goods and services. It is like the first one, free trade policy. It is a one which does not impose any restriction on exchange of goods and services between the different countries. A free trade policy involves complete absence of tariff, quotas, exchange restrictions, taxes, and subsidies on production. Factor use and consumption. Together, there is no restriction. It means the kind of export duty, excise duty, or to be paid, but it is not up to the level or the higher level they need not to pay. It is a kind of the agreement between the countries they involved with the free trade policy. The free trade policy is liberalizing the regulations which involve in the normal course of action, which is to be reduced. In terms, it is involving in the tariff, in the quotas. It means the quantity of goods are permitted to export. Sometimes some nations are having a kind of policy, can export this volume of the goods alone to the particular country. The home country can have a kind of restriction. But we don't have any restriction if it is a kind of agreement which is called it as free trade policy. And exchange restrictions. We can easy to swap, easy to convert from one country currency to another country currency where the free trade policy is imposed. And the taxes and subsidies are production, usage of factors, land, labor, capital, everything that is being used for the purpose of exporting and importing of goods and services, which is free. It is free, it is in the sense there is no restriction imposed on this particular trade policy. We call it as free trade policy. Second one, a protective trade policy. A protective trade policy pursued by a country seeks to maintain a system of trade restrictions with the objective of protecting the domestic economy for the competition of foreign products, which is just opposite to the free trade policy is a protective trade policy, which is protecting the interest of domestic manufacturers. If we are importing a huge volume of foreign goods, the domestic players or the domestic manufacturer will be affected with the consequences. So they are limiting that particular thing, restricting towards importing that particular kind of product, the kind of services from the particular country. So that the kind of or the category of policy we call it as protective trade policies. And inward looking trade policy. The inward looking trade policy is an import substitution policy. It means the stresses the need for a country to evolve its own style of development and to be the master of its own fate. With restriction on the movement of goods, services and the people in and out of the country. An inward-looking trade policy encourages the development of indigenous technologies appropriate to a country's resource endowment. For the development of country, the kind of policy will be helpful in the import substitution. We call it as inward-looking trade policy, which is being encouraged the development of indigenous technologies in the country. And the outward-looking trade policy is an export-led growth policy, encourages not only for the free trade but also for the free movement of capital. Workers, enterprises, students are also welcome to the multinational enterprises and an open system of communication. We call it as outward-looking trade policy. So the inward-looking trade policy, we are permitting the people, even not only the goods and services we are importing. In the import-led trade policy or inward-led trade policy, it is we are also inviting the workers from the foreign country, inviting the capital from the foreign country. Similar to this, the outward-looking trade policy, it is not only the free trade, it is also allowing the factors from the foreign country. And India's foreign trade policy. So the India's foreign trade policy, it is the foreign trade of India is guided by the export and import policy, EXIM policy of the government of India. It is regulated by the Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act 1992. So in this regulation, the foreign trade policy contains the various decisions taken by the government in the sphere of foreign trade, that is, with respect to import and export from the country, and more especially export promotion measures, policies and the procedures related thereto are to be taken in this particular policy. And the foreign trade policy, which was announced on the 1st April 2015, is an integrated policy for the period of 2015 to 20. The prior to 1985, the government of India used to announce the EXIM policy, it is export and import policy, annually. However, with the view to the uniformity, bringing the uniformity and stability in the EXIM policy, it was decided to give the policy with a validity of 3 years, and the first 3 years of the EXIM policy, which commenced from 1985. Since 1985, there was a moderate trend towards the liberalization, which finally took the shape during 1991, which is after the announcement of new economic policy. This liberalization is got the overall picture in different elements in different industries. Directorate General of Foreign Trade is the main governing body in matters of related to the EXIM policy. There are legal frameworks for foreign trade in India, which is governed in the different legislations. It is Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992, Foreign Trade Regulation Rules 1993, Foreign Trade Exemption Order 1993, Government's Export Entitlement Policy 2000 to 2004, Export Quality Control and Inspection Act 1963, Customs and Excise Duties Drawback Rules during 1995, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. The objectives of foreign trade policy during 2015 to 20. The foreign trade policy in India, which was adopted during the period 2015 to 20, which provide a framework for increasing export of goods and services as well as the generation of employment. That is, it is also increasing the value addition to the country. In terms, it is going to strengthen the rupee value in the market in line with the Make in India program. This foreign trade policy, which aims to enable India to respond to the challenges of the external environment, keeping in step with the rapidly evolving international trading architecture, and make the trade a major contributor to the country's economic growth and development. To arrest and reverse declining trend of exports is the main aim of this policy. This aim will be reviewed after 2.5 years. The simplification of application procedure for availing the various benefits are imposed in this particular policy. And to set in motion the strategies and the policy measures which catalyze the growth of exports. To encourage exports through a mix of measures includes fiscal incentives, institutional changes, procedural rationalization, and efforts for enhanced market access across the world and diversification of export market. There are highlights of foreign trade policy during the period 2015 to 20. Increase export to 900 billion US dollar by 1920. It is from 466 billion US dollar during the period 2013 to 14. Rise India's share in world export from 2% to 3.5%. Merchandise export from India scheme, MIES scheme, and service export from India scheme, SEIS scheme, was launched during this period. Served from India scheme will be replaced with the service export from India scheme. For grant of reward under the merchandise export from India scheme, the countries have been categorized into 3 groups, whereas the rates of rewards under the MEIS, it is merchandise export to India scheme, ranging from 2% to 5%. Under the service export from India scheme, selected services would be rewarded with a rate of 3% to 5%. Foreign trade policy to be aligned with Make in India, Digital India, and Skill India initiatives. Duty credit script made freely transferable and usable for payments of customs duty, excise duty, and services tax. Export promotion missions to take on board to the state government. Unlike annual reviews, foreign trade policy will be reviewed after 2.5 years. The higher level of support for export of defense, firm produced products and eco-friendly products, and nomenclature of export houses, star export houses, trading houses, premier trading houses. The certificate changed to 1 to 2 star export houses. The ratings are given. The criteria for export performance for recognition of status holder have been changed from rupees to US dollar earnings. Online procedure to upload digitally signed document by chartered accountant or company secretary or cost accountant to be developed. The validity of export authorization extended from the period of 12 months to 24 months. And in the chapter 3 of foreign trade policy, which insists that the incentives extended to the units located in the special economic zones. Export obligation under export promotion capital goods scheme reduced to 75% to promote the domestic capital goods manufacturing. Given due importance compared to importing of goods, the exporting of capital goods are given more important. And which will give the promotion of domestic capital goods manufacturing. E-commerce export of handloom products, books, periodicals, leather footwears, toys and other customized garments through a courier or foreign post office would also be able to get benefit under the merchantable export from India scheme with a value up to rupees 25,000. Inter-ministerial consultation to be held in online for issues of various licenses. No need to repeatedly submit the physical copies of the document available on exporter-importer profile. 108 MSME clusters have been identified for focusing the intervention to boost the export. Accordingly, Niryat Bandhu scheme has been repositioned to achieve the objectives of Skill India. Trade facilitation and enhancing the ease of doing business are the other major focus areas in the new trade policy. And one of the major objectives of new foreign trade policy is to move towards the paperless working in 24/7 environment. Manufacturers who are also a status holder will now be able to self-certify their manufactured goods in phases as originating from India with a view to qualifying for preferential treatment under various forms of bilateral and regional trade agreements. This approved exporter system will help the manufacturer exporters considerably in getting fast access to the international market. Foreign Exchange Management Act. There are a due importance in this particular act. Even this particular act is old one compared to the new foreign trade policy. The major objectives of this particular act includes to facilitate external trade and payment, to promote the orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange market. The foreign exchange transactions, which was regulated by Foreign Exchange Regulation Act (FERA) during the year 1973, followed by the liberalization was adopted during the year 1991. Some of the major amendments were provided in the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act in the year 1993. There was a lot demand to bring the major changes in the FERA in light of the economic changes which took place in the market. Consequently, a new act was formed to replace the FERA. It's known as Foreign Exchange Management Act, which was introduced in the year 1999. There are a basic difference between the FERA and FEMA. The Foreign Exchange Management Act, which is only specified act related to the foreign exchange or regulated, while the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, FARO, anything and everything that has to do with foreign exchange which was controlled. The second important distinction, the objective of Foreign Exchange Management Act is to facilitate the trade, while that of Foreign Exchange Regulation Act is to prevent the misuse of trade. And the Foreign Exchange Management Act is much smaller, enacted only for 49 sections against the 81 sections of Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. These are the basic difference between the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act and the Foreign Exchange Management Act. We'll see in the next session. Thank you.